Greetings, Bat fans. This is Batman.
And Robin, the Boy Wonder.
And me too, Batmite.
Welcoming you to the new adventures of Batman. Watch us wage our never-ending battle of good versus evil.
Ride with us as we chase the greatest array of villains the world has ever seen, proving that crime does not pay.
Get set for thrills and action. Join me, Batman.
And me, Robin the Boy Wonder.
And Batgirl. And me too, Batmite.
In the super new adventures of
Batman.
Welcome back, citizens, to an all-new episode of the Batcave podcast. It's your old bat chum, John S. Drew here. We're back in the Batcave. We're talking Filmation 77. And, of course, when I say we, I do mean the man himself, the person who only wants to help. From Comic Book Central, Mr. Joe Stuber. Hey, Joe.
I am so excited about recording this with you today. It's giving me the goosebumpies. I have the goosebumpies.
Oh, it's Mr. Freeze. And you know what? I'm thrilled. I am thrilled because this Mr. Freeze feels more like the 66 television series than the really annoying attempts at the 67 one where he was just played out. And Dan Greenfield and I talked about this. You can go back and listen to him. He was played out more as a thug with a gimmick of being cold.
There's that, but he also reminds me of that, and he also reminds me a little bit of Arnold Schwarzenegger in Batman and Robin.
Yes. Yeah.
You know, like there's like kind of like this really cool, no pun intended, vibe about him. Yeah, I really like this episode. There's a lot of good visuals in this one.
Mm-hmm. No, I mean, Lenny Weintraub decided to go. I mean, obviously, we don't know Arnold that well yet. He's just starting to make his presence known in 77, 78, at least among the bodybuilding circuit there and such. But
there's Hercules in New York and Pumping Iron and stuff like that. I think
right. But you know, still, he went a little bit more of the caricature German accent.
Yes.
You know, but then again, I also think Eli Wallach did the same thing as the third Mr. Freeze in the 66 show. So, you know.
I kind of got the same sense too, because there were how many Mr. Freezes
3
on the 66? I think 3 total, right?
Yeah.
So this one I think reminded me more of that voice a little bit.
Yes.
Yeah. I think he kind of took that. And so probably watch those episodes and maybe, you know, that was where we're going. But yeah, the Deep Freeze, April 23rd, 1977, man. That's it's a very cool episode. I like this one.
Written by Mark Fink.
Yes, who also wrote A Sweet Joke on Gotham City and Reading, Writing, and Wronging. Were those the ones that have like the classes for villainy?
Yes.
Yep. So we talked in the last episode that Joker didn't go for those type of henchmen, but it seems like Fink did go for those. He didn't do it here, but maybe he got. Was it Professor Frost? Maybe he was a professor at that academy.
Right.
Maybe that's where there's like a professor, a doctor, a teacher, students, class, something of villainy. So we kind of got that. So maybe that's how we got from Mark Fink. Yeah. But pretty good script. I think this is one of my favorites.
Oh yeah, no, I agree. My only quibble, small quibble, gotta say, you know, Professor Fink there, or what was it? Professor
Frost.
Frost. Yeah, Mark Fink's the writer.
Professor Fink, Professor Frank Frost.
He creates a freeze ray. I'm like, okay, that was, you know, that's his gimmick. That was the only thing. I had to just say to myself, this isn't the 66 series as much as it pays homage to it, as much as it's got Adam and Bert. This isn't that. They're creating their own thing. And okay, so Professor Frost has a freeze ray now for Mr. Freeze. Cool. Okay.
But that's the joke that plays out though, isn't it? Is that he's sort of the brains behind the operation and Freeze takes all the credit. I think that's funny. I like that. Because Freeze just wants to sit around and eat popsicles and watch his Frosty TV set, and, you know.
Yeah, they play up all that kind of stuff, like the popsicles, all the cold puns. They're all in there.
Yeah, his Coldsmobile.
I loved that. I had to go back and did he just say Coldmobile or Coldsmobile? And I had to go back and
yes. I think he knocked it out of the park on this one. I thought it was cool.
Yeah.
They're all the puns are there. If you like the puns in Batman and Robin, you're gonna love this episode.
Yep. I liked the fact that we get Dick and Bruce back at home as the episode opens and Bruce is working on a model plane.
Gesundheit.
What?
I said, how's your cold?
Lousy. And you're... is it... helping any?
What?
I said, there's the bat signal.
The commissioner. Let's go.
Well, at least it's a warm night, and my cold won't get any worse.
And I always thought it interesting when they did the stuff, like the shots of them, and they're in their T-shirts. You know, just their white T-shirts there. I thought that was always strange. I don't know.
Well, but we've complained before where they were doing stuff like casually, but in a suit and an ascot or something,
true.
you know,
That's
and it's
true.
like...
This makes more sense.
Yeah, I think that one makes more sense.
Yeah.
It's not that they're just like, hey, I'm doing my hobby and I'm all dressed up like I'm going out for a night on the town. It's like, you know, unfortunately, no Batgirl on this one though.
No, I noticed that. Yeah, well, noticed it obviously. Yeah, no Batgirl.
Yeah, that's my only complaint of the episode is I always like when Batgirl gets involved because that could have been a cool because then you definitely have the Batman and Robin connection because that was the movie that gave us Batgirl. Mm-hmm. So I thought that would have been like a cool time, but we don't have her in this one. But yeah, it's just, and it gets set up too, where, Mr. Freeze, like what ticks him off? Like what makes him go off in this one? It's like, there's this news report that mentions all the master criminals are in jail. We know the Joker's there now because Batman put him back in the last episode. Riddler's there. And he calls Mr. Freeze a fourth-rate criminal.
Yeah, fourth-rate.
But he is, right. But he is. Mm-hmm. Frost is the one that knows everything. He is a fourth-rate criminal. He's got a super cool suit, though.
Yes, he does. There's a nice little bit because basically he wants to steal this submarine with the idea being that if he's got the sub, he can travel anywhere around the world and rob any place he wants. And nobody can detect him because he's traveling underwater and all that. And that's it. It's a cool idea. I got to give him credit. I like that and all.
No pun intended.
Right.
Was it the N1000 super fast submarine?
Right.
He's going to do. Yeah. So again, we get some of these water things and some of the stuff they used before. I think wasn't there one in the North Pole and they use some of those backgrounds and things. So we get to reuse some of the Filmation animation too for this one. Save some bucks always helps.
Yep. But speaking of saving bucks, you notice how much, I don't know how familiar you are with the Filmation Star Trek series. A lot of the music there recycled for this episode.
Yeah. I think the last one I noticed a lot of the Shazam music recycled in the Joker one. And then, you mentioned it here. So it's so funny how you associate, certain music, certain Filmation music with certain series.
Right.
Like definitely Shazam and Isis like that. We hear that music in our sleep all the time. So when it pops up in these other animated ones, or from Star Trek or something, it's kind of neat to see that. Yeah, they're pinching pennies, but that's okay.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah. Because again, this is another fast moving episode that they're able to quickly, corner Freeze in his hideout and such. But before he freezes them in ice, he offers them snow cones and suggests flavors. That's right out of the 66 show.
Care for a snow cone? We have cheery cherry and groovy grape.
You're under arrest, Freeze.
Oh, you're wrong, Batman. I hate prisons. They're so hot.
Let's go, Freeze.
I'm afraid you're the ones that are going. Hit it, Frost.
You all right, Robin?
Yeah, but where are we?
You are in my antique crime museum, gentlemen. I will be honored to have the legendary Batman and Robin as my first human exhibits.
You're full of cold air, Freeze. We're taking you in.
You send chills up my back, Robin.
Now, Robin.
Hit it, Frost. I've done it, Frost. I've done it! Batman and Robin are through forever as crime fighters. But just for laughs, we'll take the boy Wonder along with us.
Right down.
It's so weird, man. But it's like, for some reason, when I rewatched this episode, I remembered them saying that from back in the day. It was like, oh, that was part of my brain when I remember this episode. I just thought it was so goofy. It was funny.
Mm-hmm. And we get the bat skis back again remember from the Penguin episode.
Well, and too in Freeze's hideaway too. I want to mention, like, because we always kind of like talk about the Bat computer, how, like, you know, is it sentient? Is it? It's really helpful in this episode because I think the Bat computer is what targets the Freeze hideaway, right?
Yes.
Like the mountain highway, so it tracks that down. And when they get there, it's almost like this antique museum. But the stuff he has frozen. First of all, why does it have to be frozen? Anyway, I don't get that part. But you could just have them there. But did you notice some of the weird things that were in there? There's a Volkswagen. There's Noah's Ark, I think, is in there. There's a T-Rex. That seems familiar, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. I had to wonder there, was that like, you know, then eventually would become part of Batman's, you know, what is it, souvenir hall?
It is in my book. That's my retro. I'm retconning it to that. I mean, I think there's a couple of comics Batman geeks are going to know more about, but I think it's Batman 10, issue number 10, The Isle That Time Forgot. I think that's like the first T-Rex, and that may or may not be the one in the cave. But Batman 35, Dinosaur Island, is that sort of gets credit for where that. In the animated universe, I'm making this the official place where he gets at. So I say he goes back to the mountain hideaway after they capture Freeze, and he takes that T-Rex. Yeah. I'm saying that. I'm going to go with that. Yeah. Does that work for you?
That works for me. That works perfectly well for me.
Can we make that executive decision?
Yes, we can.
Yeah, he's got all these super cool things in there. I'm like, he just like collects stuff. But there's no rhyme. We're like, why a Volkswagen next to Noah's Ark? I don't know. Why not?
You know, T-Rex. And it makes you wonder, like, was that in the script, or did they just say random things so the animators just had fun with it?
Yeah, like Freeze's antique museum, and then and then the Filmation crew's like, what's in there? I don't know. Mm-hmm. Well, Noah's Ark would probably be in there. Okay, sure, why not? And Volkswagens were big at the time, so
sure.
I guess that's where that comes from. But yeah, the T-Rex, and then maybe somebody was a Batman fan that actually did read the comic books and went, I know I'm surprised a giant penny wasn't in it. That would have been really cool. That would have been a dead giveaway on that one. But yeah, so we get the use of the freeze ray. He freezes Batman and Robin. He kidnaps Robin.
Right.
I'm trying to remember, but it's like, why didn't he? So he left Batman to die, right? But he was kidnapping Robin.
Yeah.
And cut a mouth hole out so he could breathe.
Yeah, that's the thing I thought was weird. It's because I'm looking at it at first. I'm like, is that a mouth hole?
Wait a minute, that's the thing you thought was weird? The cherry, the goofy grape, you're okay.
That one I was all fine with because I was like, okay, that's 66 homage. But I'm like, why is there a hole? First, I'm like, why is there a hole? Then suddenly Bert starts talking. I'm like, oh, okay.
Because he had to talk. It was so weird.
Yeah.
It was so weird. And then so Batman's there. And there's a really cool moment too. When we go, I think we're going back. Was it to the mountain hideaway? I'm trying to remember. There's like this tree, and there's a bird. Who knew birds could sneeze?
Yes,
Filmation birds can sneeze. Everybody has a cold. Burt Ward has a cold. Robin has a cold. Everybody.
Professor Frost gets one.
He gets a cold. The bird has a cold. Mm-hmm. Everybody has a cold in this one. And then Batmite to the rescue again. John, how many times do we have to say this?
Mm-hmm.
Batmite, all he wants to do is help, and he does.
Yep.
Back-to-back episodes where he saves Batman's life. Sorry. Oh, Robin's life and Batman's life. Saves dynamic duo. So there. All you Batmite haters, them's the facts.
Yes.
There you go.
Agree.
Your Honor, I rest my case.
No, I totally agree with you there. I mean, I am Team Batmite now. I went into this saying, Batmite, he's another one of these annoying sidekicks, but I am Team Batmite now.
And we get another cool Bat vehicle, the Bat boat. It turns into a Bat sub. That's that's all like very James Bondian. And then on the Bat sub, which it becomes this Bat sub, a huge Bat drill.
Yes.
Like, does it seem the Bat drill is bigger than should be for that Bat sub? Like,
yeah.
Where would you put that thing? But I don't know. I just thought that was cool. There's so many cool things in this. And then once again, the old trope of using the reverse polarity trick.
Yes.
Oh, that old trope.
Yes.
Oh the freeze gun.
Reverse the polarity. Now, see, I gotta wonder though, because I know it's infamous with Doctor Who fans. Because Doctor Who would, especially the third Doctor, would say reverse the polarity of the neutron flow is what he would say. Okay. But did the phrase come from him first, or was reverse the polarity someplace else before to sort of change a magnet or something in some other science fiction type program? I'd be really curious to know where the origin of that phrase began.
We're throwing that out to the listeners, so they have to. Where can they write in, John, to tell us?
Oh, that's the thebatcavepodcast at gmail.com.
There you go. Let us know. Do some digging. Why should we do all the work? You do some work. We do all the work here. Where did that come from? Who had reversed the polarity?
Yeah.
Write in and tell us. Because it works. It works on the freeze gun. And you mentioned the Batskis too again. Like Return of the Batskis. Those are cool. Can you imagine like a extra special action figure with Batskis that comes with Batskis? Yeah, that'd be cool.
That would be cool.
I want that one too. Again, that joke plays the whole way through with Frost being the sort of criminal mastermind of this whole thing. And like Freeze takes credit for everything.
Well, what's your plan, Frost?
I think we have to get rid of those guards first.
Brilliant. I'm glad I thought of that. Get to work, Frost. Hurry up.
Right. And this, he does this, and Frost always looks back at him. He's like, really? All right, And at some point, he just wants to get out of there. He's getting tired of walking around in a parka. He's a mad genius. He could invent anything. He could probably. We talk about this all the time. Like Catwoman has this device, and that just invent that and make money off that. Why can't you do that?
Yeah,
that'd be super cool. But again, no pun intended.
I love that bit at the end of when they do reverse the polarity of the device. It becomes like a heat thing, and it starts melting the snow, and Frost just gives up because he's just enjoying the heat. So he's like, no fight, no nothing. It's okay. I'm good. I'll just stay here.
Like warming his hands over
yeah.
Standing there getting his hands warm.
Exactly.
Yeah. I felt bad for Frost in this one. I think he got a bad rap in this.
Yeah, I think so too. That's something like if there was a second season, he just should have been, the main villain. Think about it. Give him his own episode.
I think so. That could have been a nice sequel. Freeze is cooling his heels in prison, pun intended.
Yep.
And he sort of takes over I would have liked that. Maybe they can bring him back.
Yeah.
Maybe Robert Pattinson could meet up with Frost.
Well, did you hear the comments from he was quoted in one of the articles that the director, Matt Reeves, he could see Mr. Freeze in the sequel for Batman.
Okay.
Yeah.
I did not see that. I'm surprised he said that because there was such a negative reaction.
Yeah.
To Schwarzenegger's, that whole movie. But right. I think you could pull it off if you do it right. Here, I had a chance to chat with Michael Uslan, the Batman producer. Again, third time he visited the show. But we do talk a little bit about the Batman movie coming up and all these different things. And I do ask him, because I know it's just kind of a sore spot, about Batman Forever and Batman and Robin, those two films. He's not. I think he actually tried to talk the studio out of making them. But I mentioned to him, with a couple of glasses of wine in me, and I watched that. I remember they released it in the theaters a couple of years ago. I watched it. I loved it. You just have to watch it in the right frame of mind. He goes, I'll go grab a couple bottles of wine to get through that one. So Freeze is a tough character. He really is.
Yeah.
I think it works perfectly in animation. It worked perfectly on the 66 series. I thought they did an unbelievable job with Batman the Animated Series. I think that's where they gave him an origin, right? I don't even know if he had the wife and she was in a coma or whatever.
That's the origin there.
Right.
With the wife and everything.
But that sort of became the de facto origin.
Right,
for
exactly.
Freeze, right?
Yes,
right.
Yeah.
No, and I think that stems from that series. And I think if you did it like that, but not with fuzzy bunny slippers and watching Heat Miser, Snow Miser, I think if you did it that way, you could pull it off.
Well, did I ever tell you my whole theory of how the movies, the Keaton, Burton, Uslan movies are really just their take on 66 Batman?
No.
Yeah.
I can definitely see it with the Schumacher ones.
Oh, you could see it with the other ones too. Take Batman, the first one. That is first season Batman, firmly placed there, dark. It's all taking place at nights, and there are touches of humor. It's first season. Watch that first season. It's not that goofy. As it slowly goes through, it gets maybe a little bit goofier, but it's not belly laugh, ha ha, silly, doing crazy stuff. Then you get to Batman Returns. That's the beginning of the second season, where it's like we're still trying some, but we're also starting to do some other crazy things too. And that experimented the idea of team ups with the villains and stuff, which you saw then with the movie and the second season. Then you get to, what is it? What's the third one? Val Kilmer. That's
Batman Forever.
That's Batman Forever. Now we're getting
that's Gorshin. Full on Gorshin.
Right,
yeah,
full on Gorshin. We're getting to the end of the second season. Now
we almost had Two-Face in the Batman 66. We got him in comic book form, so Two-Face is kind of in there.
Right. And then you get to Batman and Robin. That's third season, off the wall, bonkers, Batgirl, Louis
camp.
the Lilac. It's complete camp. It's just completely. And the evolution is right there. It's right there. It's just because the thing with the Michael Keaton movie, the first one, Batman, there never should have been any sort of attempts at little bits of humor. It should never have been done. That's why the as much as I'm not a huge fan of them, that's why Christian Bale movies work so well, because they were like, no, he's Batman and we're going to do it this way. Even that first Batman movie, as much as I love it, it's got its moments there, and you could see the seeds were set for camp in a way, because Burton was a fan of the 66 show in his own way, hell, Prince working the theme in there and everything.
I do know. I talked to Uslan about that. He wasn't happy with the Prince music in there. That was not his call. I think that was a studio, because Warner Brothers had his contract, and that was a big thing at the time, was like, get Prince songs in there. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then the irony of it all being that they try so desperately to distance themselves from Adam and Bert, not even thinking about letting Adam walk on as Thomas Wayne or anything like that, that it's like, but you just basically did a modern version of the 66 show in 4 movies.
I don't know that Uslan would walk that entire walk with you.
I don't think he would. No, I agree with you. But
no, he would walk it with you on the last 2. He would definitely walk with it, because he's like, the first 2 are his, the other 2 are they had to sell toys. And what happened too was, people know the story. I think the second one was so dark, with Penguin biting the nose off and stuff like that. They were selling Happy Meals toys, and then parents groups got upset. And it's like, these are for kids. Are you selling it to Happy Meals toys? So they had to sell the action figures and the Happy Meals moving forward, which is why you had such a lot. But I like them. I thought they were so goofy. And I think that fourth one is definitely a feature film version of the Spirit of the Adam West show. I absolutely think that. And I think Freeze plays well into that. Even in his car in this one, in this episode that we're talking about, the Deep Freeze, his car in this one reminds me, the Coldsmobile, reminds me a little bit of Schwarzenegger's in the Schumacher version.
Yes.
I think that was so cool too. So again, there's a lot of really interesting stuff in this episode. Mr. Freeze is one of my favorite characters. I'd love to see a modern take on it, like a really, kind of cool, twisted new version of it. But, one that's slinging Cheery Cherry and Goofy Grape Snow Cones. I like that too. And I talked to Uslan, we talk about this. He goes, at this point, 2022, there's a Batman for everyone. It doesn't matter what you like. Mm-hmm. There's a Batman Scooby-Doo. You got the Batmite. You got Grim and Gritty, Dark. You've got, Dark Knight Returns movies, video, animated. There's something for everybody.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I absolutely agree with you on that one.
Batman and the Super 7 will return after these messages.
The citizens of Toothopolis remain ever watchful for
the cavity creeps! Crest!
We make holes in teeth!
Quick! Warn the Crest team! Crest! Cresty's trying to tell us something. The cavity creeps! Crest, come on!
We make holes in
Let's give him the brush with Crest's fluoride.
Yay! Crest!
Watch
Watch treats, see your dentist, and fight the cavity creeps like the Cresties.
Fight cavities with Crest.
Too little short for a stormtrooper.
I'm Luke Skywalker. I'm here to rescue you.
Luke's just not a farmer, Owen. He has too much of his father in him.
I want to learn the ways of the Force and become a Jedi like my father.
The Force will be with you. Always. Star Wars. Rated PG. Parental guidance suggested. Now playing at a theater near you.
Here's another interesting story that's in the news.
In the news, rappelling and rolling to the Olympics. Ice skating in the Olympics made Dorothy Hamill a star. Now, some roller skating champs want to become big Olympic wheels, too. We'll be back with roller skating in the news.
Sponsored by new Hubba Bubba, with bubbles that won't stick to your face.
He's a-coming! He's a-coming! There's gonna be a gunfight!
There's a brand new bubble gum in town named Hubba Bubba. It's soft, juicy, and delicious. Best of all, Hubba Bubba lets you blow great, big, fat bubbles that won't stick to your face.
That gun, my bubble gum?
Big bubbles, no troubles.
You Hubba Bubble Gum.
And now, roller skating in the news. Roller skating is becoming one of America's popular pastimes. For some, it's a new way to disco. For others, it's just a lot of fun. But some really good skaters long for the chance to compete internationally. The trouble is, roller skating is not accepted as an Olympic sport. Getting a sport or game into the Olympics isn't easy. It has to be popular in at least 40 countries on 3 continents. There has to be a long record of participation in world and regional competitions. The last new contest to be admitted to the Olympics was judo in 1948. Roller skating has already met all these requirements. For 42 years, roller skating championships like these in Texas have been held around the country. Some of these super skaters are graceful and talented, like Olympic ice skaters. And like the best of them, roller skaters take a few spills, too. This year, roller skating was included in the Pan American Games. And with its increasing popularity, there's new pressure to have it admitted to the Olympics. But 1988 is the very earliest that could happen, and other sports like tennis, badminton, and baseball are also waiting to be admitted. I'm Christopher Glenn with roller skating's Olympic hopes in the news.
Here comes our fearless flying hero in the all-new Adventures of Mighty Mouse, plus Heckle and Jekyll. Ouch! Those masters of mischief.
Premiering September on CBS.
Message.
Freeze and Professor Frost have a long time to thaw out now.
Yes, Robin. They learned the cold, hard fact that crime doesn't pay.
Look at what I made, guys! A freeze ray for whipping up snow cones. Watch!
No,
wait, Batmite, hold it.
Gee, you guys sound awful. You ought to take better care of yourselves.
The bat message. Wow, they didn't even I know we've been saying these are useless. They flat out. There's Adam West. Crime doesn't pay. Really, Adam? Okay.
Gave up on this one.
Just gave up.
Gave up on it. They learned the cold, hard fact.
Yes.
Crime doesn't pay. Yeah. I'm more impressed. Forget the bat message. At that point. We're just at this point, we're like, forget the bat. I'm more impressed with how Batmite causes a blizzard in the Batcave with a plunger, a tripod, and a few propellers.
Yes.
How does he do that? I know they created helium paint in the last episode, but that's pretty impressive. To create that kind of blizzard with just some, where was the plunger? Where was it? Is it the bat room? The bathroom? Bathroom?
Bathroom.
Next to the bathroom. Grabs a plunger, grabs a Johnny Mop, whatever. Look, all he wanted to do was make snow cones.
Yeah. Oh, man. Yeah. They just should have given up at this point with the bat message. Which is just so ironic because, when we know Filmation, we know end of He-Man, end of She-Ra, there they are, end of Shazam, end of ISIS, end of Fat Albert, here comes Bill Cosby to tell us, every single one of them. And Batman and Robin, why they couldn't stick that one, I don't get it. But
no, easily the weakest part of this series. You and I love the series. Mm-hmm. I think Batmite has been redeemed at this point. Yes. I think we've done our job, the heavy lifting there. But the bat message, I can't say anything about that. It's just horrible.
Yeah. Well, all right. That's going to do it for this episode, though. But before we head on out, Joe, Comic Book Central, you said Michael Uslan coming up, or may have been by the time I edit this, it may be out there. The third appearance.
I will say he's out there. Yes. He is out there live now as the audience is listening to this. Third appearance. So if you haven't heard the first two, the first one way back in Comic Book Central's early days, talked to him about his memoir, The Boy Who Loved Batman. And that was basically it's almost like, his inspiration was, who's the author of A Christmas Story? Gene Shepard?
Yes.
I think it was. So that's sort of his inspiration in writing. He sort of tells this tale. It's almost like Wonder Years meets Christmas Story meets meets Batman, right? And it was growing up as a comic book fan, and we talked about a ton of stuff. He was the first professor to have a college course teaching comic books, and how he turned his 10-year odyssey from the time he bought the rights to Batman as a feature film to getting it the 89 Batman that we know and love. So that's that book there. That's also, we talk about, it's going to be a Broadway show. They're making a feature film out of it. So that's that. The second time we got together, we talked about pulp heroes. He did a lot. Like he wrote the Green Hornet and Lone Ranger comic books. We talk about those. We talk about Swamp Thing. We do a deep dive into the muck for Swamp Thing in that second one. And then this one, he's got, and I want to make sure I get the title right. His latest book is Batman's Batman, a memoir from Hollywood, Land of Belk and Money, which I love that title. And it's basically all the stuff once he got the Batman movie made, his life in Hollywood. And it's just filled with these crazy stories. He almost bought Marvel. He almost bought DC. He almost made the Shadow. It's like all these like near misses, which we talk about, are wildly entertaining in the things that didn't happen in Hollywood. All the close calls, the things that were greenlit, and then a company goes bankrupt months before filming. And there's a line from Thomas Wayne, which is used by Michael Caine as Alfred in Batman Begins, is, why do we fall? To teach ourselves how to get back up. And that's really the theme of the book. So Michael Uslan, all three parts are out there now. So make sure you listen to those. And we talk about Batmite. We do. And you're going to love it. When we talk about Batmite, that's all I'm saying. There's a little hope. Go listen to it. You're going to love it. But we do talk about Batmite.
And you can find all those on any of your great podcast applications or over at comicbookcentral.net.
Yeah, thank you. They're all out there. And we're having a blast over there. I'm dialing back the amount of episodes. This won't be 50 episodes this year. It's a very, it's an extreme schedule. Got 400 episodes out there for folks, but dialing it back a little bit. But I'm still going to try to bring you 2 a month. That lot of stuff, Lost in Space. Going to try to do some Phantom episodes, 96 films. So a lot of cool stuff out there.
Very cool. Very cool. Joe, thank you once again for being here, man. Really appreciate it.
Always love talking to series with you, and love redeeming Batmite. My goodness. We've done such a good job on that. Kudos to you, my friend.
I think
for doing that.
I agree.
I had a cool time with you today. I had a cool time chilling out with the deep freeze.
Cool time chilling out. We've only got 5 episodes left.
No, it's not so.
I know.
I don't want it to end. I don't want it to end. I think, isn't one of them a 3-parter too?
Yes.
Isn't it like an epic 3-part Batmite episode?
Fighting a Batmite villain, basically, because he's from Batmite's dimension.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't want it to end, but I want to get there.
Yeah,
right. I think that's we're going to have to do a trilogy. We'll close out on a trilogy, man.
I think so. Yeah.
Our own trilogy, our own Bat trilogy.
Our own Bat trilogy. Will it be as good as Christian Bale? Hopefully, I think it will. No,
it will be better because I'm not a big fan of the third one.
Yeah. Now, for us here, next time you and I get together, Joe, we're going to be talking Clayface.
Oh, the Return of Clayface. Yeah, I love Clayface. As
he imitates Batman in an episode titled Dead Ringers.
They're always imitating Batman.
I know.
I think he'd figure it out by now. Can't wait for that one.
Exactly, yeah. So, folks, let us know how we're doing here, what you think of our great love for Batmite, our excitement about the new Batman movie, or just my crazed theory about how the 80s movies are just the 66, just done with a bigger budget, by heading on over to thebatcavepodcast.com or writing us at thebatcavepodcast@gmail.com. Until next time, folks, thank you so much for listening. Once again, Joe, citizens, take care, everybody.